Southsea Beach, Portsmouth, July 3rd, 2012. A man walking his dog spots something tangled in seaweed. A floral curtain tied tightly with rope heavy enough that the tide can't pull it back out. Inside is a human torso. No limbs, no head, no identifying features. Police have nothing. No crime scene, no witnesses, no timeline. But buried in the folds of the curtain are 8 tiny hairs. Hairs that don't belong to the victim or the killer. They belong to a cat. And those hairs would lead investigators to the first use of cat DNA in a UK homicide trial. But this isn't the first time a cat helped solve a murder. That honor belongs to a case across the Atlantic, a case involving a white cat named Snowball, a leather jacket, and a forensic leap that changed criminal investigations forever. Today we're looking at 2 cases, one in England, one in Canada, that reshaped forensic science using evidence no one expected. Hey, coworkers.
Welcome to Coworkers in Crime, the podcast where office chatter meets crime discussion.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Krystal.
Yes, we really do work together.
And yes, we're totally obsessed with true crime.
From water cooler whispers to cold case deep dives,
we're here to bring you stories that keep us chatting way past our coffee breaks.
So grab your coffee,
lock your desk drawer, and let's get into this week's case. Before we get into this, I feel like we have to acknowledge that we're doing an episode about cat solving crimes. And I basically run a small animal sanctuary, so I think that it's kind of funny that animals are solving crimes now.
Yeah, between the two of us, we have a lot of animals. You have cats, I have cats and dogs, and they shed like it's their job. So if we go missing, there's going to be evidence everywhere.
No kidding. And I feel like if our pets are going to start getting involved in our little affair here, we'll just have them host. And Jafar would be all about it. He loves some attention. We may have to just add them into this episode's picture. Like we're going to have like the animals with us on the podcast.
Like, the
so
cats,
this one will,
at least.
Absolutely. We're going to do that. That is a must. So I hope y'all enjoyed the thumbnail because that's going to have the babies on there. After researching these cases, it's not as comforting.
Nope. I'm afraid that our pets would talk, but that's okay. Because if we're missing, we want the animals talking.
Yes, absolutely. They're basically, today's episode is your pets know everything and they're not afraid to snitch.
And honestly, good for them. So back in 2012, when the torso is found, Hampshire police are immediately boxed in. They're starting with the worst possible scenario, a body part with no identifying features and no clear crime scene.
And the curtain, the floral curtain, becomes the only thing they can work with. It's treated like a mobile crime scene. Every fold, every knot, every fiber is photographed and then cataloged.
The torso shows signs of post-mortem dismemberment, but without limbs or a head, they can't determine cause of death. They can't even confirm identity.
So they go back to basics, missing persons. You know, what do investigators do psychologically when the only evidence they have is something as mundane as a curtain? I mean,
I was thinking about this because, like, what do they do when you have such a common, and I'm sure it's sold everywhere. Like,
yeah.
Is that even our first line of looking is, was it only sold in this area? Was it only sold there? But I'm assuming a floral shower curtain was sold all across the UK. And so I guess they just have to start with the curtain. But how does that set you up to even,
and I wonder
start
if
to think about the case?
Like, think about back when, how like we see the couch from the 80s or like the cookie jar from the 80s with the goose. Like, we all know what it is. We've all seen it. Like, is it that kind of shower curtain that it's like, oh, wait, I know exactly. Like, everybody's seen that shower curtain. So it really stinks if it's one of the really mainstream ones, or one that you can just pick up at a mass retailer. So, yeah, I'm sure it's like, oh, gosh, this is like a good hint, but not a hint at all.
Right. And so, obviously their first step is to identify the victim. And a local boarding house manager reported that David Guy, 30, hasn't been seen in days. His room is undisturbed, wallet still there, bed unmade, and no signs of a struggle.
But neighbors mention one name over and over, David Hilder. He lives in the same building. He and Guy have a volatile friendship. They're drinking buddies who fight, then reconcile, then fight again. Yeah, sounds like a fraternity, really. I mean,
Right. Police now have a possible victim and a possible suspect, but no physical evidence tying them together. So, how much weight should investigators give to neighborhood gossip when there's no physical evidence yet?
I think it should be considered. Like, if you know that they're known to be volatile with each other and they drink a lot, things happen when you're drinking and things get out of hand, even if it wasn't intentional. So I think I would put a lot of weight into that if that was like, hey, this is known to happen. They're known to pop off and go a little crazy.
Yeah. I think the same thing, like yes, it's gossip, but it's also a potential lead, you know, so let's follow it because there's nothing else as of right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Forensic techs use the curtain using a trace evidence hood. They find rope fibers, blood traces, and 8 cat hairs.
And those aren't loose cat hairs, those are embedded. That means they were likely transferred in a home environment, not outdoors.
But here's the problem. The UK has no cat DNA database, no forensic protocol for animal DNA, no lab capable of running that kind of a test.
So they shipped the hairs to a specialized lab in California, the same lab that handled the Snowball case years earlier.
Mm, so I wonder if when evidence leaves the country for testing, is that going to affect how the jury perceives its reliability? Like, oh, it's gone overseas or it had to leave. We did, I don't, and maybe it perceives it in a positive way, but I wonder if it changes the perception of how important that piece of evidence is.
Yeah, but I also wonder, chain of command, right? So, I mean, did they just pop it in via FedEx and send it over? Did someone fly with it? I think those are the things that I would question. Like, how did it get to California? If I was on the
Yeah.
jury, those would be my questions, I think. How did it get there? Was someone with it the whole time until it arrived there?
I feel like I would think, oh, it's even more important because they even shipped it off to a specialized place that works specifically with animal DNA. So I feel like I would feel as a juror that it's an underlined piece of evidence and it's more, I feel that ups the reliability in my head anyway.
Yeah.
But the California lab identifies the hairs as belonging to a single cat. A mitochondrial DNA matches Tinker, Hilder's pet.
But mitochondrial DNA isn't unique. It can only narrow down to a maternal line. Prosecutors needed to show how rare this DNA type is.
So, Dr. John Wetton at the University of Leicester builds the first UK cat DNA database sampling 152 cats.
And only 3 match Tinker's profile. Suddenly, that curtain is looking a lot like it came from Hilder's home. So, how do you explain a brand new forensic technique to a jury without overselling its certainty? And also, how do you sell animal pet DNA to a jury?
I feel that this is happening more and more. Yeah, right now we're talking about pet DNA, but think about like AI evidence and how reliable that's going to have to be and how explaining, this is how we look through the AI evidence and what AI has told us based on or what Google searches when those were new. Or I feel like maybe jurors or juries as a whole, like we as people, are starting to get to a point where we anticipate new types of evidence coming out all the time. I don't think I'd be surprised. I think I'd be like, yeah, of course you figured out another way to prove this. I don't know. Like, I don't know that it would oversell certainty to me. I think I'm just fascinated with it, though, really.
I am too. I find this fascinating. I told you earlier that I'd heard the case about Snowball, the Canadian case. on different crime shows that I watch, and then researching this, I was like, "Oh, there's another case about a cat?" I love cats, so of course this was gonna be our case. But, I think about, like, when fingerprints were first introduced or DNA itself, human DNA was introduced. I don't think it's that far of a stretch now to say animal DNA as it was to go from blood typing to DNA in human, in people to present to juries as evidence.
I watched a really interesting case recently about they took this guy's shoes and found that it had juniper needles on it in his shoes, and that belonged to the site where they found his missing wife. And they used the juniper needles from his shoe and matched it to the DNA of the tree. So yeah, I mean DNA is now they are now being able to pinpoint exactly where. It's just fascinating now. Everything has a fingerprint, so to speak now. Everything has its own uniqueness down to the trees. I mean, the dirt, the clay, we've seen that. It just seems like that's getting more and more vast, and frankly, it makes me feel like why would you commit a crime ever anymore? You're just going to get caught. Like everything points to they're going to catch you now.
Exactly.
Well, so police get a warrant. Inside Hilder's flat, they find blood traces matching David Guy, a saw with microscopic tissue residue, a bathroom drain with diluted blood, a laundry basket containing fabric similar to the curtain.
Hilder claims he doesn't remember harming Guy. He says they fought often, and he says he, quote unquote, blacked out.
Yeah, that aligns with a manslaughter theory, not premeditated murder. But, I mean, how should investigators interpret a suspect claiming memory loss with such a violent incident? I I mean, that
I
kind
think
of
that
was.
ends up being for a jury to decide, like, do they believe that he blacked out? Because I feel like you hear that a lot. Like, "Oh, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember those 6 hours of time," or whatever the case may be, and I know it happens. I know it happens to people. I've personally seen it happen to people where they lose a certain amount of time in their life that they weren't violent or anything, they just lost those hours, and it's weird for them to not know what happened during that time frame, but, like, I feel like we hear this a lot, so I almost wonder, is that a go-to? Like, "Oh, I don't remember what happened."
Yeah, and I'm not a heavy drinker, so I can't even really relate to drinking so much I've blacked out an entire evening. That's
Yeah,
terrifying.
same.
But I know there are people that drink like that and they don't remember full conversations that they've had with people. So I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a far stretch, and I don't think it would take much to convince me that someone genuinely has no memory of something that doesn't make them less culpable. In my
Right.
mind. You chose
Yeah.
to drink that. You know that you 2 have a violent past. So I don't think that it would make me lighter on a sentencing that you don't remember it. Clearly you're violent. Clearly you'll drink a lot. And you're saying, I mean, he even admitted that. He said, "Yeah, we have a violent past and we fight often, but I don't remember." That doesn't save you. So,
Right, and it didn't save Hilder either. In 2013, he's convicted of manslaughter, and the judge cites a violent altercation, panic, and attempted concealment.
and the cat DNA isn't the only evidence, but it's historic. It's the first time animal DNA is used in a UK trial.
Right. So that brings up that question again that we kind of touched on earlier is should courts treat animal DNA with the same weight as human DNA?
Yeah, I think it's just another, no, I don't want to use that phrase, but like it's just another like pin in the board, I don't want to say like nail in the coffin, but it's
Right.
like that's just another piece that just pins this. Like, sorry, you have yet another. I mean, do you remember that movie The Cell? Do you remember that where
No.
um it's Jennifer Lopez and Vince Vaughn, and she works with like coma patients to try and help pull them out of the coma, and they end up getting this guy who abducts a lot of women. They're trying, and he goes into a coma. It's a medical disorder he has, and she goes in trying to find out. But anyway, he had an albino dog, and they had found an albino dog hair, and it's such a rare dog in the first place, like an albino shepherd or something, an Australian or sorry, a German shepherd that was albino, which is super rare dog. So I could absolutely see that it holds the same weight because your cat didn't do this, you know? So the cat hair's there. If you have a cat, that cat's it's that cat's DNA. Come on. Like it's where's your shower curtain, you know? So
Right. And I'm sure it wasn't the only evidence,
sure, yeah.
um, but it was just one more piece of evidence. And there was a show, and the name of it's escaping me, but they used like pencils as um, circumstantial evidence, and they were like, if you have just one piece of circumstantial evidence, you can snap it pretty easily, but you have like all of these, and you can't snap the bundle of pencils. And I was like, oh, that's a really good metaphor right there. I'm like, I'm gonna remember
Yeah.
that
I
because
think I remember us talking about that before because there was a case that used circumstantial evidence as their closing. I feel like it was Corey Ridgens, and I was like, "Ew," and you were like, "Why didn't they use the pencil?" And I was like and you told me about that, I was like, "Yeah, that's way better than what they used." I did not like their closing because of that, but I was like, "Ew, come on." But gotta love Bloodworth. He's a good lawyer, so we're just gonna go ahead and let him do what he wants.
yeah. So let's talk about Snowball, who is
Yeah.
kind of like the original cat sleuth, I guess we can call Snowball.
Yeah, in 1994, 32-year-old Shirley Duguay disappears. Her car is found abandoned, smeared with blood, inside a broken fingernail, a shoe, and blood splatter.
5 months later, her body is found in a shallow grave. The prime suspect is her estranged husband, Douglas Beamish, who has a documented history of violence.
But there's no physical evidence tying him to the burial site. So, to avoid tunnel vision, how do investigators point out an obvious suspect that is also statistically a likely one? And we kind of talked about this with Colden. Like, I feel like you're not, and I've seen it in investigations where they talk about it in the interrogation. They even will tell the suspect, like, I wouldn't be doing a good job finding your loved one if I'm not suspicious of you. I need to rule you out or rule you in. And statistically, it's the person closest to them that saw them last. So I'm going to ask you hard questions and you're just going to have to get over it, you know? And it seems like they almost break easier that way. Like, yeah, of course you suspect me. Every card's on the table. I'm a suspect. So I don't think tunnel vision is tunnel vision just because you immediately suspect someone. It's if you choose to only suspect them and not look at any other theories. So I don't
Right.
know that I see tunnel vision as going to this suspect because obviously, I mean, you can't ignore it because it's like, well, statistically, it probably is him. So I don't want to be rude. I mean, come on. So,
Well, as long as they investigate other options too and don't just leap to that first person. I mean, yes, obviously in that early stages you're investigating the person closest, whoever saw them last, all that stuff, but you're also, I'm assuming, reaching out to other leads to see
mhm.
where it goes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
as long as they don't focus in on one person unless it's painfully obvious, and that's the direction you should go in, so but near the grave, police found a bloodstained leather jacket, inside the lining, human blood, and white cat hairs.
Beamish denies the jacket is his, but he lives with a cat that's white named Snowball.
So, how much can a single piece of clothing really tell investigators about a crime?
I mean, I'd be looking for like, is there pictures of him wearing it? I mean, there even if he borrowed the jacket, it doesn't really matter. It's got his cat's hair in it. So
Right.
unless someone took his cat and it was their jacket.
Yeah, I think clothing tells a lot to investigators too, like, especially if it's found at the crime scene. I don't know. It seems a little more like it's got to be connected somehow. But at the time, animal DNA had never been used in a criminal case. No protocols, no databases, no legal precedent.
Investigators contact Dr. Stephen O'Brien at the National Cancer Center, a pioneer in feline genetics.
And he compares the hairs from the jacket to Snowball's DNA. The match is conclusive.
This becomes the first successful use of animal DNA in a criminal conviction. I mean, what risks do scientists take when they introduce a brand new type of evidence into the justice system? It's, I mean, think about like they say that dogs can smell cancer. And it's like, hey, we can prove this. And it sounds silly at first, I would think, but then they go and prove it. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of trust that, you know?
Right. And I
I,
think we talked about it at the kind of the top of this episode was any type of new evidence coming in, you have to prove it. You have to show that it's believable, that it's conclusive and all that stuff. I mean, like I maybe we'll do this as like how fingerprints came to be. I mean, that
Mhm.
had to be hard to believe at first. Like you can take something that I can't see with my naked eye, put some powder on it, and then I see it. And that only matches one human being in the entire world. Like that to me, I would have been like, I don't know about that. That
Yeah,
seems like a
that's the
little.
bigger piece. Like, oh, nobody has a match to any of my 20, fingers and toes. Like, no one else's has even one that matches. That's when you have something so, I mean, massive like that. That's a lot to take in, I think.
It is. And I think as we hear about more and more new evidences coming into the justice system, like we have to have that open mind to hear about it and to be able to comprehend it and understand it. So Beamish is convicted of second-degree murder in 1996. Snowball's DNA is a key part of that case. Together, Snowball and Tinker changed forensic science. They opened the door for animal DNA in court, expanded trace evidence standards, and demonstrated how pets, quote unquote, tag their owners with forensic signatures.
Little snitches. And they show how tiny, unexpected details, a curtain, a jacket, 8 hairs, can reshape entire investigations. I mean, that just makes me think like what other everyday objects might hold forensic value. Like we now know trees, we now know dirt, we now know. I mean, I think tape, like the way the tape, the fibers. Now guns, they've kind of undone a little bit of that. They say that the ballistics, because if the guns are mass made and a machine is making them, and then that group of like let's say a batch of guns is mailed to Wisconsin, everyone who bought guns in that batch, their ballistics may match because it was made from the same machine. So now they're kind of like debunking that. Um, but I wonder what else. Like, what else has
Right. What
forensic
else?
value?
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything you touch, everything.
yeah.
You
Spoiler
just never
alert!
know.
Don't
Yeah.
do crimes because
Spoiler
everything will
alert.
get you
Yeah,
caught.
it definitely because you just never know. Like, I mean, I never thought cat hair would lead to a conviction or help lead to a conviction. That just,
Yeah,
I'm telling you, when I first saw that episode on whatever crime show I was watching, I was like, are you serious right now, Snowball? Like, seriously?
yeah,
This has led to this man, and rightfully so, being prosecuted and convicted of it, of her murder. But
yeah.
it's
I bet he
wild.
doesn't
So,
like cats anymore. He's like, oh,
every,
cats. Can't stand cats.
oh, poor cats. So, 2 murders, 2 countries, 2 cats, and 2 forensic breakthroughs that reshape how investigators think about the smallest piece of evidence.
Yeah, because sometimes the key to solving a homicide isn't a fingerprint or a confession. Sometimes it's a single hair from a cat who never knew it was helping solve a crime.
That ending.
What a change from our, sometimes we end these and we're like, oh gosh, we're so drained. And yeah,
This one,
we are
the,
trying to lighten it a little bit here. We needed
a
a
little
break.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed this break. And we hope everyone, all of our coworkers enjoyed this as well. This little sidebar on cat DNA.
New history of, really. I mean, the history of solving with cats.
Right? You'll have to come up with a new category for this one because it's not really the history of.
Category.
No pun intended.
I thought you were making a joke. I was like, it caught me really quickly. I picked up on that one because I was like, Rachel's making a funny. Okay. A new
No.
category.
No. I was going to call this the perfect help to solve murder, but I was like, no, that I don't want that. That'll
Well,
be a little...
now I have to do that. Oh, goodness.
Anyway, until next time, coworkers.
Bye, coworkers. That wraps up this week's episode.
Thanks for listening, whether you're at your office, at your home, or somewhere in between. We're glad you're here.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Like what you heard? Leave us a review and share it with your coworkers.
Got a case you want us to cover or office drama that feels criminal? Send it to us at coworkers.crimepodcast@gmail.com or check the episode notes for all of our social handles. Until next time, coworkers.
Stay curious, stay safe, and stay caffeinated.